Hi everyone. We're going to find the 2 points that define the latus rectum. We're going to graph these as well and get a better idea. We're going to look at these 4 problems. The vertex is at some HK here. And if you notice that the first problem we have both x's are 2, so that means they both lie at the vertical line x equals 2. Since the focus is below the vertex, that means that the parabola is going to open down. Right? This one, we have it lies on the horizontal line at y equals -2. Therefore, the focus is to the right of the vertex. So that means the parabola opens right. And we'll talk about this again, so don't worry about that. We're going to plot it and look at it. The next one, we have that it's the same thing. The points lie at the horizontal line y equals -2. I'll do this one too. This one, the points lie at the line x equals 3, because these two numbers are the same. Now, since on number 3, the -2, the focus is to the right of this is going to open to the right. This is your opening. Again, we'll talk about this again. Don't worry if we're doing this. On number 4, we've got this point lies below this point. So this one, the equation is going to open down. So basically on this one, we have 2 downs and 2 rights. So let's get started. Again, we're going to graph these at the same time. So we're starting where the vertex is at 2, -3. And the focus is at 2, -5. So I'm going to plot those, and we can see what's going on. 2, -3. It's right there. And the focus is at 2, -5. So we're going down 2 actually here. Alright. That means our directrix is going to be up 2, which is here. Remember, the vertex is always the midpoint between the focus and the directrix. So this is the line y equals 1. And all these points here lie at this line here, which is what I was talking about before, at x equals 2. Because these two numbers are the same. Alright, so since it opens down, and it's got this form of x minus h squared equals -4a y minus k. We also know what a is, because a from our vertex is going down, or you could do it this way. You could say a equals absolute value -5 minus -3. And that's going to equal 2. Alright, but we already graphed it, and we already saw that this went down by 2. Alright, so we're going to plug that in, and we're going to get x minus 2 squared equals -4 times 2 is my a, y minus my k, which is going to be minus the -3, which is plus 3, which equals x minus 2 squared equals -8 times y plus 3. Now the length of my latus rectum is 8. So I go to my focus, and this whole thing should be, the width here should be 8, so I'm going to go over 4 to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you graph it, you can get the points that define the latus rectum right off your graph. And plot it that way. Or what you can do is, since we know that this point here is 2, negative 5, I'm going to plug these points in to find what my x is. So if we let y equals negative 5, what would be these two x's? And I could do that algebraically. So what we'd get is, letting y equals negative 5, we get x minus 2 squared equals 16. So we're going to get x minus 2, if we square root both sides, we get x minus 2 equals plus or minus 8. We square root both sides, so x equals plus or minus 8 plus 2. So x is going to equal 10, and x is going to equal, let's see, 6. Sorry, this is going to be negative 10. Not negative 10, but negative 2. Alright, and this is supposed to be a 4, so that's where I messed up. It was supposed to be a 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Alright, sorry about that. That's why I'd rather just get it off the graph. You need to know this in case you get fractions and things. So basically this point, my x's are 2's, but this one here is the negative 2, and this one right here is 6. Okay, the next one we have is the vertex is 4, 2, and the focus is 6, negative 2. So let's plot that. We have 4, 2, and the focus is at 6. They're supposed to be the same, so these are both negative 2's. Alright, negative 2 and 6, 2. So we know that this is going to open to the right, because this is your focus, opens right. I'm going to go ahead and draw the directrix, because the vertex is the midpoint. So that's going to be right in here. This is at x equals 2, and I'm going to write my equation since I know it opens to the right. It has the form of y minus k squared equals 4a times x minus h, and that's going to be y minus a negative 2 squared equals 4a. Now my a, I'm going to put in just a minute, and it's going to be x minus 4. We know my a is 2 because I went here over 2 to get to the focus, and over 2 to the left to get to the directrix. So basically, I know my a is 2 here, if you graph it. Or you could just do 6 minus 4 is 2. So basically we get y plus 2 squared equals 8 times x minus 4. And so from my focus, since my length of my latus rectum is 8, I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and draw the graph. And you can get the points of the latus rectum right off the graph. So this is going to be 4, 2, and this one is going to be 4, negative 6. So we went down 4 from the negative 2. Or you could just plug in the x to get the y. So if I plug in x is 4. So I'm going to plug in 4, and you can get you'll get y plus 2 squared equals 16. If you plug in the x as, what was this, 4? So then you're going to get, if you square root both sides, you get y plus 2 equals plus or minus 4, and then y equals plus or minus 4 minus 2. So y equals 2, and y equals negative 6, which is what we got here. So this is the algebraic way to do it. Okay, the next one, we have the vertex at negative 1, negative 2. My focus is at 0, negative 2. So I'm going to plot that, 0, negative 2. Which is right there. So my A, since this is only length of 1, my A equals 1. That's why it helps the graph. My directrix would be therefore back 1. Okay, so this would be x equals negative 2. That's your directrix. And then I have to write my equation. Since I know it opens to the right, I'm going to use this equation. Y minus k squared equals 4a times x minus h. I plug everything in. I get y minus a negative 2 squared equals 4a. My a is 1, so it's just going to be 4 times x minus a negative 1, which is y plus 2 squared equals 4 times x plus 1. Now, the length of my latus rectum is 4, so from my focus here, I'm going to go up 2 and down 2 from that point, because the parabola, to make it symmetric. This whole length should equal 4. And you can get the points right off here. You could do it algebraically again. So the points here would be 0, 0, and this one would be 0, negative 4. And those are the points that define the latus rectum. And the last one is the vertex is at 3, 0, and the focus is at 3, negative 2. Both lie on the horizontal line. Let's graph this 3, 0, and then 3, negative 2. So they both lie on the horizontal line x equals 3, because these two numbers are the same. My a, therefore, equals absolute value of negative 2 minus 0, which equals 2. So that's your a. And we know this is the focus, so it opens down. Therefore, I'm going to use the equation x minus h squared equals negative 4a times y minus k. So we get x minus 3 squared equals negative 4 times 2 times y minus 0. Clean this up, you get x minus 3 squared equals negative 8y. Okay, that's your equation. Let me put my directrix, would be right here. This would be y equals 2. It's going to open down. I'm going to go ahead and do this one algebraically because the other one I didn't. So I'm going to plug in my y. This point here is 3, negative 2 to get my x points. I know it's going to go over 4. Half of 8 is 4, so I go over 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you can just get the points off the graph. I'm going to go ahead and do this algebraically. Whoops. Okay. Up there. So algebraically, what you would do is plug in your y to get these 2 points here, like a table of values. So when I plug in negative 2, I'm going to get, let y equals negative 2, I get x minus 3 squared equals 16. Square root both sides, you get x minus 3 equals plus or minus 4. Then add the 3. So you get x equals plus or minus 4 plus 3. So x equals 7 and x equals negative 1. So x equals negative 1, comma negative 2, and then x also equals 7, comma negative 2. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.